let's talk briefly about what is going on in the visible sky tonight. Just got back from catching a pretty great shot of the sky just after sunset, and the sun is at 6 degrees of Gemini right about now, as you may know. What is also occupying Gemini are Venus, Mercury, and Jupiter, respectively. And they're pretty close together, and they're actually forming this little triangle, as you can see in the night sky. Now, Venus will be the point that is to your furthest right, and then Mercury, and then Jupiter closest to the left. Now, what this actually means from an astrological perspective is a forced collaboration, if you will, of these three aspects of the human function. Venus represents the ability to connect with each other, whether we do that directly through our relationships, personal relationships, professional relationships, what have you, or indirectly through our art or through our other means of expression, how humans relate with other humans. Then we have Mercury, who represents our ability to transmit and to receive data. Just the facts, ma'am. Then we have Jupiter, who represents our ability to synthesize that data and to create meaning out of it, to expand beyond what it is that we already know, and to learn, to engage in philosophy and sometimes spirituality. Now, all three of these, four of them if we are looking at the sun as well, are expressing themselves through the sign of Gemini. Gemini is traditionally ruled by Mercury, so he's right at home here. And Gemini is the sign that is really about communication, about transmitting data, receiving it, about perception, the way that we engage information, and also the way that we send it back out again. So it's the words themselves, the way that we hear them. And since all three of those points are operating in collaboration with each other, this is stirring up a tremendous amount of energy in our interpersonal conversations, our ability to understand each other as human beings, our ability to understand our relationships. So Eckhart Tolle has a really great quote about having as much interest in our responses to things as we do in the things themselves. This is a really great opportunity for us to look at our methods of perception. What meaning do we make out of our experiences? How do we hear each other? How do we understand and often misunderstand one another? What is on that lens of perception that may alter the way that we see our fellow human beings? So this is a really great opportunity for us to adjust the lens, if you will, and perhaps refocus. Each person is going to have a different experience of this, depending on where your rising sign is. Gemini may be on your first house, it may be on your 6th house, it may be on your 11th house. And that's going to color a lot of how you personally experience this triple conjunction. Let's use an example. So a person who has Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter currently transiting their 2nd house, if they have a Gemini 2nd house, this would stir up a lot of conversation, perception, and synthesis around money, around resources in particular. There would probably be a lot of discussion and perhaps deal-making, relationships that are formed with regard to resources and what they have available. Now, resources are not exclusively money, obviously. We're also talking about time, energy, talent, things that we can spend and things that we can invest. Let's say, for example, that Gemini rules the 7th house. Then this is going to be very much about partnerships, friendships, marriages, contract negotiations. If Gemini rules the 10th house, it's a larger scale career energy. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much what we're gonna say about this. So it's unique in that it's visible, right now to the naked eye in the night sky. And it's unique in that this triple conjunction of pretty benevolent symbols converges at a moment where people are ready to pull themselves back up by their bootstraps and get going again and get re-inspired, see things in a different way and adjust their perspective, adjust their attitudes. And hopefully we'll all have some success at that. So there it is. That's what's going on in the sky right now.